Hello my crypto people and welcome back to another episode of the Daily Crypto News, and today we're going to be talking about Vechain VET. So for all of you that do not know, I've been supporting Vechain for a very long time, even though the price has been going down for a very long time by now as well. And if you're wondering what Vechain is, officially, they are a blockchain platform designed to enhance supply chain management and business processes. Its goal is to streamline these processes and information flow for complex supply chains through the use of DLT. The Vechain platform contains two tokens, VET, the Vechain we talk about, and VTHO, which is basically gas, as you guys most likely understand it. But to describe it in an easier way, they officially state that their goal is to build a trust-free and distributed business ecosystem platform to enable transparent information flow, efficient collaboration, and high-speed value transfers. Supply chain data for business processes are currently compartmentalized in silos among multiple stakeholders, and this affects information flow, which is again divided among stakeholders. According to Vechain's white paper, blockchain tech can break this asymmetric information problem and allow ownership of data to return to the empowered its owner. And the Vechain platform claims to provide a 360-degree view of necessary information linked to a product and its business processes, such as storage, transportation, and supply, to authorize stakeholders and create greater market transparency. I understand, however, that's very cool in theory, but what exactly do they do? Well, this section here talks about how exactly it can be used, but to give you guys a long story short, there's a whole bunch of things that Vechain can be utilized for. One of them being if you have a specific good in a grocery store, you can scan the little code on there and see the whole history of what happened to that product. But it goes further. If you want to authenticate some, for example, very highly collectible shoes or very high collectible cards, like for example, Pokemon cards. We can go on and on and on about this. We can actually do the same thing for wine. We can do the same thing for cars, for the mileage and so on. They're basically a storage. Or if you're looking at medicine, for example, they can help track everything. If you're looking at those thingies on there, which I don't want to name over on YouTube, it's actually being done, and we'll talk about that further in this video. Now, while you guys were pressing that like button, and if you haven't done it yet, no worries, but make sure you press that like button to help out the channel. I was actually looking for a list of the complete Vechain partnerships, just put in a freaking list like this. I've actually seen this list a dozen times before as I've talked about it, but what you'll find is that Vechain has a couple of really ridiculously crazy partnerships, under which are DNVGL, PwC, but also some very high-ranking government partnerships over in China. Here's, for example, a very recent tweet, which again just came out. Eisenrich shared this: Vechain x Kafa. The blockchain platform integrates government and enterprises to achieve traceability, testing and certification, precise recall, monitoring and early warning, and supply chain management. Runs on Vechain. If you don't know what this is, Vechain joined a little while ago already the China Animal Health and Food Safety Alliance as council member to provide blockchain tech for enterprise members. Vechain will be the sole public blockchain technology provider in the alliance. And that includes a very significant amount of things. It's definitely not a small little feat of everything that Vechain is involved in. It is actually crazy if you start looking through it. But it goes on further. Here's again what Eisenreich has shared. Since San Marino is trending for the first time in ever, SM San Marino has a green version pass that uses VeChain technology and NFTs. San Marino adopted blockchain tech for the nation's goal of becoming the first carbon neutral country, as we saw a couple of weeks ago or a couple of months ago. They put something like that out there, and this is actually something that's become a really big news hit right now. They have basically gone for these little certificates over on Vechain. And Sonny Liu, the founder, has actually been kind of shouting over on Twitter that he wished a lot more countries would have it in the same way that San Marino has done it. Then again, I will not be the judge of this because first of all, he is biased, and second of all, he is complaining about the way that these systems move with the whole vaccine and travel restrictions and whatnot. But I'm not really sure if all these other systems would necessarily make it better or if he's just biased. I just don't honestly know. Eisenreich has been sharing multiple different pieces as well, but I think this from Vechain is actually most interesting. Now, as you guys have probably heard, or if you didn't, Vechain is starting to get into the layer 1 game. They're basically trying to become a platformer as well, where they pretty recently introduced VUSD, the new stablecoin in the Vechain ecosystem. And as we said before, a stablecoin is the easiest way to get your system or your new platform some sort of traction. With Cardano, I would say one of the problems we're seeing right now is that there's not any one major stablecoin on there that's really recognized just quite yet. And Vechain took a little bit of a different approach by starting it first. And the only criticism I have of Vechain is that they're not incentivizing the people enough. But that's exactly what they're going through right now, those processes. But check this out. Getting VUSD minted, the payment process is very smooth, efficient, and transaction cost is almost zero. Ready to go? Xnode holders, what do you say to have some airdrops of VUSD? And so here was that specific announcement. We were excited to unveil the launch date of Vechain's first stablecoin. To celebrate, we've planned some special events for the community, including a $500,000 airdrop for Xnodes and $50,000 in minting bonuses. That's good and all, that's good and all. Sunny Lou here also shared from traceability to more and more value, as Vechain is not only trying to be on that sector, also of course continue on with their supply chain managing, also continue on however on their carbon neutralizing segment or path. I'm not exactly sure the best way to phrase it, but there's one specific thing which I tried to showcase to you, but it kind of kept getting lost in the void of what is called Twitter. I've started to notice something very interesting, which is mostly that Vechain's ecosystem is starting to grow quite rapidly, not from these carbon announcements or things of this sort, not from these little supply chain announcements or things of this sort. I was trying to showcase the San Marino thing, but no, really over on Twitter, their presence from Vechain is starting to grow like crazy, mostly because of these new NFTs or Vechain metaverse type of ideas. It's actually been crazy. When checking just the Vechain hashtag, for example, or Vechain search query over on Twitter, that's the majority of what you'll find. Seriously, when looking through this list for things over on Twitter, it is actually very hard not to find about 95% Vechain related NFTs. It's actually funny because a little while ago, it really was nothing, and all of a sudden, the Vechain community is starting to kind of go in the route of XRP, which again is also laid to this layer 1 race where, of course, Ethereum and Solana are really the heads of these NFTs. You might call BNB in that same little list, and these XRP NFTs, HBAR NFTs, Vechain NFTs, they're really far behind, but they're making an appearance. And it's actually a relatively good, relatively bad thing for a community. The reason it is good is because it gets a lot of volume in terms of people talking about it. The reason it is bad is because you get a lot of spam and you get a lot of scams of that nature and people just involving with your project purely to kind of make something and sell out to the people. But then again, here's a critical example of why a lot of things that Vechain is doing is actually being put to use right now as we speak as well. That's one of the biggest questions I always get. So when is Vechain going to go up in price? What exactly needs to happen for the price to start pumping? And honestly, it's a very difficult thing. In the same sense that with XRP, it's usually not the volume, it's not the one party using it. It's mostly the collective of things which make a price pump. With Vechain, I just personally think the more they keep building and the more they utilize their token on the bottom end, which again is another problem on its own, but we'll get about that in a different video of actually utilizing the Vechain token. But the more that the Vechain ecosystem grows, the more I'm thinking they'll eventually start using that token. And so right now, since the whole crypto space is developing anyway, I'm seeing it for them as just building this fundamental basis before Vechain will eventually just skyrocket like crazy. Again, this is just my opinion, not financial advice, but make sure you press that like button. Check this out though. Blockchain is the digital age trust machine, and Vechain is delivering it through our rapidly deployable toolchain platform. And if you didn't know, toolchain is basically their whole idea of you as a company mostly, or as anything like that, being able to deploy anything blockchain related, or at least the basis layer of supply chain, as easily as saying 1, 2, 3, or basically just ordering it to your needs. It's like a service they provide, which is again the business as a service or service as a service or anything of those sorts. And again, here you can read all about that if you would want to. It's just if you're a company and you want to go into blockchain tech or anything of the sort, you talk to them and they'll arrange something for you. It kind of feels like an ad now, funny. But to not feel like an ad reader for Vechain, because at the end of the day, I'm just a holder. I feel excited about it, but I'm in no way, shape, or form affiliate with the project. I can literally say, screw Vechain, don't buy this piece of garbage. You know, it wouldn't really hurt me at the end of the day. See, the Vechain people, they did something. All right, 13 cuffs later, we're good to go. Blockchain is digital a trust machine. Vechain is delivering it through our rapidly deployable toolchain platform. Digital transformation will unlock tremendous value for the digital economy. And take a look at this. Yeah, long story short, they basically made this Pokemon card and put it onto the blockchain. I think it's rather interesting, you know. So here you can see there's a couple of ownership claims of that specific card. And I think it's an interesting thing to see being developed through DigiCard key services. Okay, authentication through Internet of Things. Yeah, it's not really loading properly, but we get the premise, we get the idea. We're not stupid. And I think that's a really cool initiative. This is a cool idea. And I think this will be used more and more and more to authenticate things. So as of this point, all I can say is nice, right? Nice. Powered by Vechain, nice. And all in all, I'm just very excited about this project. Let that be known, all right? Let that be known. Having said that, let me know down below if you're actually a Vechain holder, yes or no. And let me know if you're excited about the project. Of course, be honest. And I honestly think it's going to be expanding rapidly. Plus, this is a key. I just hope that Vechain is going to get listed on Coinbase, causing like an instant pump. But that's maybe just some wishful thinking, you know, but I'm always thinking about that. Having said that, make sure you press the like button if you enjoyed it, and I'll see you guys again in another crypto video later today. Make sure you subscribe. Adios, amigos.